to Russian President Vladimir Putin, Trump has threatened 100% tariffs on Russia if there is no ceasefire deal in the next 50 days. He has also said that the United States will now be sending weapons to NATO that it will have to pay for, adding that NATO then may choose to send those weapons to other nations. So is he now sidestepping his entire pitch with Ukraine by sending this message not just to Vladimir Putin, but also creating a mechanism to send more weapons to Ukraine? Earlier, when he said that NATO needs to pull its weight when it comes to funding different operations, he had made that stand extremely clear while he was in the White House, while he was addressing several NATO leaders. But now it seems, in a bid to counter Vladimir Putin, he's also made sure that there is this mechanism where he will sell arms to NATO nations and they can send it to Ukraine, so creating another buffer, if you will, for that arms supply to Ukraine. But Trump's big statement coming in against Vladimir Putin, he has 50 days to announce a ceasefire or there will be 100% tariffs from the Trump administration. Listen in.
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means. But today we're going to talk about something else. And as you know, we've spent $350 billion approximately on this war with Russia and Ukraine, and would like to see it end. It wasn't my war, it was Biden's war. It's not my war. I'm trying to get you out of it. And we want to see it end. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there. So based on that, we're going to be doing secondary tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. It's very simple. And they'll be at 100%.
And I'm joined by my colleague Siddhant Mishra on the broadcast. So Siddhant, a real 360, 180-degree change in tune from the US president, completely changing his entire narrative around Russia. But can Trump walk the talk, or will we see Taco Trump once again on the global stage?
Well, Ayushman, this is perhaps a very, very routine position of United States for Russia. In fact, this is exactly what President Biden was doing, Ayushman. And now Trump is announcing arms sales to Ukraine, more arms to Ukraine. In fact, they are also planning to supply air defense systems to Ukraine, etc., etc. But it's important to take viewers back to the time of President Trump's inauguration, and even before that, when he was running for the election. Perhaps the promise he made was that he will pull Russia out of isolation. At that time, he was blaming President Biden for putting Russia in isolation. In fact, a month back when he was in Alberta for the G7 summit, he said that Russia should not be thrown out of the grouping. So, in last 6 months, he tried all tactics, all his diplomatic might, all resources were put in place to get a ceasefire in Europe, because that was the promise he made in the elections. But it looks like that since all the tactics and all the resources, despite being put in place, there is no, there has been no breakthrough in the ongoing conflict. And perhaps this is the reason that now it looks like that Donald Trump, as you rightly said, has taken a 180-degree turn in his policy for Russia, and now he's following the same path what President Biden has adopted in more arms to Ukraine, more isolation for Russia, and now he has also threatened to impose more tariff on Russia, 100% tariff. So this will put Russia even in more isolation, perhaps, and all the hard work that have been put in place by US and the other stakeholders in the last 6 months to come to the tables for the talk, whether it's a meeting in Turkey, whether it's a meeting happening in Saudi Arabia, President Trump speaking to Putin directly, Steve Witkoff visiting President Putin in Moscow, etc., etc. All these things will come to an end, because what this will result only in further isolation of Russia. And perhaps it also looks like that President Trump has a realization that his policies for Russia, his desperation to get a ceasefire and breakthrough, has failed, and he has to go back to the old American, book
Standpoint.
to perhaps isolate Russia, and that is how they can corner Russia.
Network 18 decimates Times Internet with over 6 times more unique users on social media. Network 18, the undisputed leader of news networks, way ahead of the times.